Breaking news. CNN and Fox News report, grand jury indicts Alec Baldwin, again, in the fatal shooting on set, that actor alleges was a mistake.
Welcome to Verdict Vantage, covering breaking news stories. Thank you for supporting our research. We would like to extend a trigger warning before we continue. Please be advised.
This video contains discussions about true crime, which may include topics such as violence, assault, and other distressing incidents. Viewer discretion is advised.
Major breaking news into CNN. Actor Alec Baldwin has just been indicted by a New Mexico grand jury on charges connected to that fatal 2021 shooting on the set of the film Rust.
This breaking news comes at the heel of reports that Alec Baldwin is selling his home in New York, and at a major price drop. Let's take a look.
I bought this house back in 1995. I put this addition on the eastern side of the property in 1996, and my wife Ilaria and I built this addition on the western side of the property in 2014. Got about 10,000 square feet here. I fell in love with this place the moment I came here because this is the main family home of the former Potter farm, the Potter family. You just can't get this out here anymore. You can't buy big pieces of land, especially in Amagansett, that I know of. And I've always loved it here. We've got all this open land here in reserve. The meadow in the front of my property is in reserve. It's a very, very low density area, and I love coming here. I'm always happiest when I come here, especially this time of year. I love it in the wintertime because it's so peaceful and it's so beautiful.
If Alec loves his home so much, and there is so much sentiment behind it, why is he listing it for a deal buyers can't pass up? Now, we may know why.
Yeah, CNN's Josh Campbell joining us now on this, along with legal analyst Ariva Martin. Josh, first to you, tell us what we know here.
Yeah, so once again, Alec Baldwin now criminally charged once again. Obviously, we had been reporting earlier on after that fatal shooting in 2021 that the actor had been criminally charged. Those charges were then dropped. Prosecutors at the time said that that was because new evidence came to light in the case, causing questions about a piece of evidence. A law enforcement source at the time told me that that was because they learned that the weapon that was used in the shooting had been modified in some form. And so, again, those charges had been dropped. Prosecutors at the time said, though, that if they gather new information that determined culpability on the part of Alec Baldwin, they would then possibly refile charges. We're learning today that did indeed happen. A grand jury in the state of New Mexico returning this 2-count indictment. I'll read you the 2 charges specifically. Count 1 is for involuntary manslaughter, negligent use of a firearm. Count 2, involuntary manslaughter without due caution or circumspection. Now, the original prosecutor in the case told me that as part of this lengthy investigation, authorities had determined that there was this culture of unsafe practices on the set of that movie with past reports of accidental discharges. It's worth pointing out that actor Alec Baldwin all along has indicated that he did not pull the trigger on that weapon. He has maintained his innocence. We just got a statement in here to CNN, a very short statement from Baldwin's attorney saying that they look forward to their date in court. But again, the breaking news now, actor Alec Baldwin once again now criminally charged in the fatal shooting on the set of the movie Rust in 2021, which killed cinematographer Halyna Hutchins.
What are your thoughts on the case of Alec Baldwin and the fatal shooting that took place on the set of Rust? Let us know in the comment section below. If you were a juror in this trial, would you find Alec guilty as charged?
Well, these are stunning terms of events because, Brianna, we know that Alec Baldwin probably thought that this case was completely done once the other prosecutors who were assigned to the case dropped the charges against him. We know that he's gone public talking about the case. He has maintained his innocence. So now to be recharged with some of the same evidence and the same gun, the same issue that the prior prosecutors had with respect to the gun at issue, having been mishandled or somehow damaged by the FBI, it's going to be interesting to see how this new team of prosecutors are able to establish the evidence that will be necessary to get a conviction in this case, because you still have this gun that was somehow mishandled by the FBI, which is a central piece of evidence.
Let's take a look back to what Alec said to reporters in an interview after the incident took place.
She was my friend. She was my friend.
Alec Baldwin on camera for the first time since the deadly movie set shooting in New Mexico.
I'm not allowed to make any comments because it's an ongoing investigation. I've been ordered by the Sheriff's Department in Santa Fe. I can't answer any questions about the investigation. I can't.
In an impromptu interview, the 63-year-old beside his wife Hilaria, telling photographers the Rust production will not continue, calling the tragic death of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins 1 in a trillion.
There are incidental accidents on film sets from time to time, but nothing like this. This is a 1 in a trillion episode. It's a 1 in a trillion event.
The actor-producer sharing his concern for Hutchins' family, saying he's talked repeatedly with her husband.
He is in shock. He has a 9-year-old son. We are in constant contact with him because we're very worried about his family and his kid. And as I said, we're eagerly awaiting for the sheriff's department to tell us what their investigation has yielded.
The encounter at times intense and even awkward.
Excuse me.
Baldwin shooing his wife away at one point.
You guys, you know what? No details.
Do me a favor. I'm gonna answer the question.
The famed 30 Rock actor fired the deadly shot, according to authorities, after he was handed a prop gun mistakenly with a real bullet inside. The assistant director yelling "cold gun," meaning it was safe to use. Still, Baldwin defending the production.
We were a very, very, well-oiled crew shooting a film together, and then this horrible event happened.
A characterization in sharp contrast to what others on the ground have recalled. A source familiar with the matter saying some crew members walked off set shortly before the shooting over safety concerns. But Rust Movies Productions having said previously, we were not made aware of any official complaints concerning weapon or prop safety on set. Baldwin now turning his attention to a broader look at change in the industry.
So what has to happen now is we have to realize that when it does go wrong, and it's this horrible catastrophic thing, some new measures have to take place. Rubber guns, plastic guns, no real organisms. And that's not what we decide. It's urgent. It's urgent that you understand I'm not an expert in this field. So whatever other people decide is the best way to go in terms of protecting people's safety on film sets, I'm all in favor of, and I will cooperate with that in any way that I can.
The Baldwin family parting with this plea for privacy.
My kids are in the car crying.
Emily just joins us from Los Angeles. Emily, do we know why Baldwin decided to speak now?
Jose, several photographers have been staking out Baldwin in Vermont. The actor ultimately called them over and said he would talk in the hopes that they would then stop following him, his wife, and their children.
We are not body language experts here at Verdict Vantage. However, it is interesting to note Alec's body language during this interview, along with the body language of his wife. They both appear to be emotionally detached from the situation, unless it is for their own sake. Otherwise, they are quite angry and, notably, Alec's wife is extremely defensive. What do you take away from this footage, in regards to the body language of Alec and his wife?
The interesting part about this, to me, Ariva, is that officials have not been able to determine how the live ammunition found its way into that .45 caliber revolver it was manufactured by this Italian company that specializes in the kind of reproductions that are used on films like Rust. How does that potentially complicate the process of proving in court that Baldwin is guilty of 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter?
It's going to be challenging, Boris, because the prosecutors will have to prove willful disregard. And you are right. Not only have the investigators or prosecutors not been able to determine how live bullets or live ammunition ended up in the gun, they don't even know how live ammunition ended up on the set. That's still a very unanswered question. They have not been able to, even though the armorer, who has also been charged, she's set to go to trial starting in February. Apparently, she has not provided any information to law enforcement about how that live ammunition arrived on that set. Look, we know that people should not be killed in the making of a movie. This was a tragedy that should have never happened. 2 people have been charged, and now with Alec Baldwin, a 3rd person being charged. Clearly, someone is responsible for the death of Miss Hutchins. But the investigation seems to have been so shoddy that it's not clear to me that anyone will be held criminally responsible.